Welcome to Business Decoded. Today I break down how Apple lost the personal computer war to Microsoft and still became one of the most valuable companies in the world. Apple didn't win by dominating every market. It won by changing the rules of competition. To understand how, we need to look at Apple's rivalry with Microsoft, the rise and fall of its founder, and the strategic reset that followed. In the late 1970s and early 1980s, Apple was a pioneer in personal computing. It wasn't just a company itself, it was a vision. While Apple focused on premium hardware and design, Microsoft had a different approach. Microsoft licensed Windows to multiple PC manufacturers. This allowed Windows to become the standard across homes, offices, and schools. Apple, meanwhile, controlled both hardware and software, limiting its reach. By the mid-1980s, Apple was already losing the PC war. Microsoft dominated the market. Apple's products were loved, but few could afford them. It was a classic battle, innovation versus accessibility. Then, in 1985, Steve Jobs was pushed out of Apple. Internal conflicts and boardroom politics ended his leadership. Without its visionary founder, Apple struggled. Product lines multiplied uncontrollably. Costs increased. Management lacked cohesion, and Microsoft tightened its grip on the industry. By the early 1990s, Apple's challenges intensified. Its market share declined sharply. Analysts openly questioned whether Apple could survive. The company had too many products, competing internally, and too little strategic focus. Meanwhile, Microsoft kept growing. Windows 3.1 and later Windows 95 became ubiquitous. Businesses, schools, and homes standardized on Microsoft software. Apple was slowly becoming irrelevant in the mainstream. In 1997, Apple made a critical decision. It brought Steve Jobs back. Jobs returned not to replicate the past but to redefine Apple's future. The first move wasn't innovation. It was simplification. Jobs slashed Apple's sprawling product lines. Entire categories were eliminated. Apple focused on just 4 core products. This allowed teams to concentrate on design, usability, and integration. What looked like downsizing was actually a strategic lever. With this focus, Jobs rebuilt Apple as an ecosystem company. Hardware, software, and services worked seamlessly together. Products were no longer isolated, they reinforced each other. Switching costs increased. Customer loyalty deepened. This system enabled Apple's next wave of breakthroughs. The iMac revitalized the brand. The iPod changed the music industry. The iPhone reinvented mobile computing. The App Store created an entirely new economy. Apple stopped fighting Microsoft head-on. It created a new battlefield: experience, integration, and ecosystem dominance. Each product reinforced the ecosystem. iTunes encouraged iPod purchases. The iPhone strengthened software adoption. Apple stores improved the in-person experience. Every touchpoint increased customer retention. Competitors could copy features but not integration. By the mid-2000s, Apple was no longer just a computer company. It had become a consumer technology powerhouse, owning design, software, retail, and services. Microsoft remained dominant in PCs, but Apple had built a business model that Microsoft couldn't replicate. Today, Apple dominates premium consumer technology. It didn't win by copying Microsoft. It didn't win by competing on price. It won by restoring focus, vision, and execution, and by creating a system that competitors couldn't copy. That's not luck. That's disciplined strategic leadership. Now, if you want more breakdowns of the systems behind the world's most successful companies, subscribe to Business Decoded.